Well, you had the one insane idea where you did. I remember seeing your video where you did like a time lapse and you found yourself like working more
Yeah,
because you felt like you had to work for the video.
exactly. Those have
Like
helped for
that's
sure.
like incredibly fucking five head, dude. Like that's so smart.
Hi, I'm Brad. Where are you calling from?
I'm back at Walla Walla, Washington.
I'm Ontario.
Mexico, grew up in Mexico City.
And wherever you are, welcome to Blond Radio. Hi, I'm Brad. I live on the west coast of Canada. The rain has really started to come down, and I'm starting to remember just how many layers I can put on in winter. And welcome to Blond Radio, where every week I book calls with strangers from around the world. Today we'll talk to Noah, a film student who's chasing narratives, Luke, who's found an audience for his music on TikTok, and Gala, who shares her experience and worldview from Mexico. But first, I usually give you a prompt to call in and answer, but this week has been a little different. I don't know if I felt as unproductive as I have this week. Although Blonde Radio is a very international show, what's being played out in the United States of America can be reflected worldwide. There seems to be less and less space for conversation between two groups who firmly believe the other one is wrong. We'll return to our weekly prompts next week, but for this episode, I've incorporated a little more breathing room for our guests. These interviews were recorded chronologically throughout the election week. And even now, as I'm speaking, the results are still unknown. And regardless of that outcome, I hope moving forward, we all can take extra time to listen, engage, and speak to someone outside our circle. Growth and learning starts with perspective. First, here's our conversation with Noah. Hello, the man himself.
How you doing, Brad?
Doing good, yourself?
Great.
Awesome. And where are you calling from right now? Are you home in Canada?
No, I'm back at Walla Walla, Washington,
Okay.
in my apartment, all alone.
And you're still alone.
Yeah, I don't have a roommate yet.
This is
I don't,
sad, but also, I guess, sometimes nice to have your own personal space.
I thought I'd get lonely real quick, but honestly, I've kind of been vibing, doing my thing. I do plan on moving out to a house with 4 other roommates, 3 of which are some of my closest friends.
Oh, sweet.
So that's something I'm looking forward to in the new year.
But for now, just living out that Joaquin Phoenix and Her type beat.
You know it.
Awesome. As it starts off, as we go, Noah, feel free to give me the elevator pitch on you, who you are, what you do, and what got you to where you are today.
Yeah, so the elevator pitch. I'm a 5th-year university student doing film and English. I started off just film and then realized I wanted a plan B, so I added an English major because I love English, I love to write. I'm still focusing a lot on film. It's just English is also an interest of mine. So that's what I'm currently working on, is finishing my degrees and then seeing just where the world takes me. If that's attempting to get into the film industry, I'd love that. If not, I post-grad school for either writing, for filmmaking, or for English, one of those. At the moment, I'm just watching films, writing films, making short films when I can, and just creating things here and there.
Right in the heat of it, which we love to hear. When did you realize that, movies and film were meant for you? Or and vice versa, you for movies?
I just remember falling in love with movies in the theater. I wasn't allowed to attend the theater as a young kid. My parents weren't really about that life. But then I started to first you say, hey, can I watch the Lego movie? It's just Legos. And okay, we'll let you watch this. And you say, can I watch Frozen? It's Disney. And they say yes. And then you just kind of work your way up until you're able to watch whatever. And your parents kind of are realizing that theater's okay. I did that. I remember pushing the envelope more and more. I remember trying to watch my first R-rated movie, and I had to really water it down in terms of how bad it sounded. Oh no, it's Nightcrawler. It's Jake Gyllenhaal just driving around and filming news. It's not bad. Slowly just kind of manipulated my way into getting to see the movies. And then I just fell in love with the movies, really. Mm-hmm. The stories, the characters. And I remember I didn't know what I wanted to do in university, and I had just signed on to be communications. And people were saying, oh, what concentration in communications are you into? And I was like, I say, and then I heard someone say film, and I was like, that's what I'm going to say when it's my turn. And I just kind of said that.
5
years later, I'm deep into a film program.
That's awesome. And this is something I've been curious with because you're one of the few people that I know, like personally, that's as invested, if not, I'd say like more invested in film because you've developed this insanely deep interest. It spans beyond what you see on the screen. We're talking directors, composition, soundtrack. Do you find it hard to simply watch a film without like breaking down every shot in your head, or is that magic like still there?
Not at all. Not at all. There are times where it's usually the first watch where I'm just watching it to enjoy it. And I think it's on the second watch where I start to like, okay, let's analyze, let's deconstruct. I really think that the first watch, I'm just usually all in. I might notice like, oh, I like the cinematography. I'm loving the soundtrack. But no, it's actually, yeah, the filmmaker in me kind of sits in the theater seat as well and kind of just lets me enjoy the film first.
Yeah, a nice change of pace. And because we got to know each other over, I'd say more so like film Twitter before we actually like met.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
And I'll say, like, you can feel free to disagree. It feels like you really are thriving there and you found your space. What's the best part about having that sort of online community?
So weird. People just understand your niche memes. I make the most stupid memes and then they get likes because other people realize why they're stupid, but yeah, why they work. I had one tweet like kind of do well, and I told my friend about it. Like, oh, tell me the joke. I'm like, you really won't get it. And then just hit me with it. And I explained it, and they're like, no, okay. So you're saying this is funny? Okay, I'll take your word for it. So it's just insane how many people will understand what you're blabbing about in your little pocket of Twitter. I mean, it's so expansive, and yet I've found people who talk about the same things I like to talk about. They like to interact, and they add things to my experiences with film. And vice versa. I feel like I like to say that I helped them.
That's really beautiful. And it's crazy. As wide and expansive as like the internet is, it does allow for like these really niche communities, which are just like you would be very challenged to find in like maybe in real life setting.
Mm-hmm.
For you, what's the feeling of being behind a camera? What draws you to that perspective? Or, as a writer, pen to page type deal?
I think I touched on it a bit earlier. The story is what really gets me. That's kind of why I chose the more writing aspect. Don't get me wrong. I love almost every aspect of filmmaking. I'm getting better at audio work. That's my Achilles heel at the moment. I've ruined projects because I did not record correctly. But anyways, we don't talk about that. No, I just find that like there's no right answer, I should say, in terms of when you look for a shot, when you look for what you want to have a character say or do. You can write a scene so many different ways, and all of them can be the same. I remember I was working on my first big short film that got made, and I was the screenwriter for that. My director, he said, I want some options. So can you write 3 versions of the scene? And I just kind of looked at him like, you want 3 versions of the same scene? And I knew what I had to get to, but he wanted 3 different ways to get there. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of, okay. And so I did one that I really liked. And I'm like, okay, that's one. And then I did another one. I'm like, oh, I kind of like this one too. And I wrote 3 versions of the scene. And then I sent that to him, and he ended up using all 3, like kind of mixing them together.
Oh, wow.
And so that was kind of interesting. I just remember thinking, what on earth, you want me to write the scene 3 times? Why? But like I said, there was no right answer, which they all had something in them that worked, and they came together, and I feel like the scene works, and it was a good experience all around.
I love that. And I love that idea of like, yeah, there's no real right answer in film. There's just like a bunch of different perspectives, and maybe trying to find the most clear one is like when everyone's most gelling together, which is we love to see. Awesome. To get maybe a little big, a little existential, we'll see.
Hit me. I'm not even scared.
Are you the happiest you've been right now? And if not, why?
Right now, honestly, I guess you could say I am pretty much the happiest I've been right now.
Damn, good for you.
I don't mean to flex.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 2020. People are probably not cheerful right now, but I can't even say that like I know when it started. I just relatively try to live happily. Don't get me wrong. Many times I've had the big sad boy hours hit me, and that's when all you can do is just play your playlists and lie in your bed and look at your ceiling. But I trust the process, I guess. That's what a lot of people ask me sometimes. I just trust the process. I trust the process. It's kind of true if you think about it. I just Oh,
Totally.
and another thing I kind of live by is this is kind of almost pessimistic at the same as like this too shall pass. But when I'm sad and you think this too shall pass, but I also kind of remember that when I'm happy, like this too shall pass, and it kind of keeps me level. I guess the highs don't get too high, but then the lows don't stay so low. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having too high highs, but I just feel like I'm in a good place where I'm just everything is kind of at an expected like area, and I can take life whatever it throws at me. I can kind of mold it to however I need to look at it.
Yeah, and it's keeping perspective because if you get into a spot where you're like, this is the happiest I've been, this is amazing, and you're riding that high, your next low is going to feel so much lower. Yeah.
Right. So I just kind of like you asked me, are you the happiest you've ever been? And I guess when you asked me, I was like, yeah, I guess I'd say so. But I don't really think about, oh, I'm really happy right now. I just kind of live happily, I guess.
Totally. I love that. Noah, I want to thank you again for taking time out of your evening speaking with me.
Nothing made me happier.
Of course. In closing, I was wondering, what advice could you give to someone to broaden in a maybe larger sense their worldview, but even in something small or smaller? We won't call film small, but smaller, like film and movies. Because I know I used to have a pretty narrow mindset before I started watching new things. What would you recommend to people?
I guess I'd like to say is nobody knows what they're doing, and that applies to yourself. You think you know what you're doing, but you'll never fully know what you are doing, and no one else is. So don't let them bother you. Don't let yourself bother you. Don't let yourself get too far ahead there. There's always something else that you can be learning or experiencing for the first time. Just like that, other people might think they know everything, but no one knows what they're doing. And so don't even let other people and how they interpret you like affect you, because they don't have it figured out either. Trust me, you're not the only one walking around not sure. Everyone's unsure.
I love that. Yeah. It's a very human existence we live in, and it'd be hard to say anyone's really figured it out.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So intentional. Had to toss that out there.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you again for sharing and speaking your words and your story and being so open.
I loved it. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. And we'll obviously be in touch, and we'll be speaking to you very soon.
I'd hope so.
Cheers. Well, I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Ciao.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh shit.
Here we
fuck.
go.
Thank you for the sub, Soph. I'm streaming right now. I got my chat involved. They're ready to listen to the conversation. I put lo-fi on because I know that's your style.
Appreciate it.
I wanted to respect it.
Thank you.
How you
It's
been?
definitely the vibe. Doing good. Another day, but then also not another day. It's every day I do feel blessed to wake up in Canada. So we'll see how the evening goes.
That was one big thing when you were like, I don't think we can text, man, because I live in Canada. And I was like, Pog you. It works out.
It definitely does. And whereabouts are you from?
I'm Ontario.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm Ontario. The most American province in Canada, basically.
You're getting close there. You're pretty close.
Yeah. I knew right away that you were either like California or like Vancouver or something, because you had like just like West Coast. Because for some reason West Coast just looks like beauty.
It is
all the time.
Essentially Narnia out here, and I'm not complaining, despite the rent. The rent is, oh my God. But
yeah.
Cool. I think just off the bat, I'll give you an opportunity to, give the pitch on you, who you are, what you do, and what kind of got you to where you are today.
I'm just a white kid that got lucky on TikTok mainly. I play guitar every so often. People seem to like that. And I just started getting more into like recording music. Like a lot of the times I write songs. That's my biggest problem. Like writing songs, easiest thing I've ever had like to do. Like I can write like a song every single day and not have writer's block.
Damn.
But as soon as it comes to recording, it's like my brain just shuts off, because it's like and I'm a pretty big picture person, but when it comes to my own music, I'm very small detailed. So listening back, you could have a 3-minute song where everything sounds amazing to me. And then all of a sudden I hear like my voice kind of go flat on a singular note. And I'm like, okay, I got to restart.
Exactly. The artist dilemma, perfectionist. Yeah.
I got to get over that. And that's a big reason why I'm excited to do my EP tomorrow.
Yes.
Like, it's the first time that I'm like, I'm going to get someone with me. The deadline is I have to have 3 songs done by the end of the day, no matter how I feel about them. Like that's that. Like I feel like it's important to have a certain deadline to yourself in general, because it forces you to get something out there at least.
No, absolutely. Yeah. If I didn't have like these weekly uploads for the podcast, I wouldn't be getting anything done. So yeah, definitely deadlines are important. And initially, because you've been around on the app since, at least that I can see, 2018. Were you on Musical.ly before?
No. Well, okay. Okay. So I used to be on Musical.ly in like This is a funny story, actually.
Mhm.
I was on Musically in like 2016 or something. I remember I was making a bunch of content, but I was doing like content that was like on TikTok now. And I'm not even someone that's gonna like pat myself on the back and stuff, but I was ahead of my time on Musically because I was making like actual like comedy videos in my room and stuff. As soon as Musically became TikTok and I saw a bunch of like ironic creators like go on it, like Ryan Joseph was like a big one, Pepperoni Joe, a lot of people who were on like this main group that we call the Hit or Miss Tour. Like this was December of 2018. It was like Grandma's Coochie, which is a great name, by the way. It was like myself, that TikTok girly. Like there was a bunch of us on there. Like a lot of them inspired me to be like, you know what, I'm gonna go out and I'm just gonna make content. And it wasn't until I started doing my guitar videos that I just immediately blew up. Like I made a video where I was like, "What's up, gamers? My wife just made an announcement. She's leaving me. She's taking the kids." The next morning, I woke up and it was like 150,000 likes, and I was like, "What just happened?" And 150,000 likes at the time was like 2 million now.
Exactly.
Like it was such a smaller community, and it was like, oh my god, like I was everywhere. Like when I saw myself on PewDiePie and when I saw myself on like compilations and stuff, it was like incredibly surreal. Like I don't think I ever took a time to sit down to like be like, oh my god, I'm like, people know me.
And that's a lot to process, that like people you've never met are seeing you and you will never see them.
One of the weirdest things is when I'm streaming and stuff and people come in and they're like, "Hey, can I play with you? Can we be friends and stuff?" And I like forget that there's like I'm gonna directly talk to my chat for a second. I don't mean to like be rude to my chat, but like a lot of the times you look at it and it's like a number. Like, and I feel like you've done. I feel like at least one time you've done this when you've uploaded content when you see like 4,000 views, you're like that wasn't the best, and then you forget that that's 4,000 is a lot of people.
Exactly.
Like you look at it as a number, you'll be like, I only got like 20 viewers right now, man. And then you realize there's 20 people in the world taking time out of their day to watch you. Like that stuff blows my mind.
Especially like when it comes to views and stuff like that. If it's maybe like lower than average or what usually a video performs, I think to myself like, okay, this has this many views. That's outside of the norm. But also these people didn't have to watch this video. And like me a year ago would be so proud of me. So why aren't I now? You know?
Yeah. Like it's insane that there's someone like if I'm on your account right now because I was talking to my chat about your account, and like your newest video is at like 5,000 views, which is really good. Whether you look at that as like that's amazing or that's terrible, like at the same time it's like if you multiply, how long are your videos usually? Your videos are usually like a minute long, right? Or like 45 seconds, 30 seconds. Yeah. So it's like 5,000 minutes like taken away from like, and not taken away obviously, but like used up by people to like spend time watching your content. Like that feels so weird to me. Yeah.
Damn. And as you're speaking to, like you initially hit a bunch of traction here because of your music. And now I haven't listened to everything yet, but from what I've heard, like beyond the talent, beyond your voice, I think your voice is amazing. I really appreciate your lyrics. As you're saying, you feel like you don't have writer's block, which is like I'm very envious of. They're really grounded and authentic. Where do you find inspiration for your music?
This is gonna be kind of this is gonna sound like a cop-out answer, but a lot of my lyric writing comes from disassociating myself from my art.
Interesting.
So if I'm gonna write about a heartbreak, instead of writing about my personal heartbreak, I'm gonna write a song about like an imaginary character's heartbreak, and then I can hyperbolize all I want because the story's not necessarily true. Like in one of my the one song that blew up of like the flowers seem to bloom every week in July, and I can seem to never get you off my mind. Like I've had girlfriends where like they broke up with me, and like I've thought about them and stuff. But if I disassociate myself and create a character, I can be like this obsessive guy that like really misses this girl, and it's a lot easier to write story about a character than it is about yourself to me. I think that makes writing a lot easier in general. If I can take myself away from the art and I don't have to worry about making myself cringe because it's not about me, right? Yeah. I feel like a lot of people get nervous when writing about themselves because they're like, well, I'm not this sad, I'm not this mad, I'm not this happy or whatever. They feel like they're over exaggerating and stuff. But when it's not you, you can write about whatever you want. You don't have to feel the weird feeling of like, it feels kind of cringy to write, even though cringy is overused nowadays.
Totally. Yeah. Fully embracing another persona. And that's just part of the art. It's just stepping into someone else's shoes.
Yeah, and then once I listen back to my lyrics, I can find myself relating to it in specific ways, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can. There's like a subconscious like, yeah, this is me to it.
Totally. What advice could you give to someone who's struggling to stay on that grind, either creatively or maybe like in a broader scope, like life goals? How do you keep moving forward and keep creating?
I think when it comes to, I think a lot of people when they go into something, they want to see the progress. Right.
Yeah.
So if you're uploading on social media, you want to see the views. after you upload it. I feel like everybody kind of, I don't know if it's just me, but whenever I upload a video, I'll like refresh every hour and be like, how's the views looking?
Exactly.
How are they looking? Every so often I'll go in and check and see. Sometimes I'll go back in time and see how many views I'm looking at. But and when you're doing anything, like if you're playing a game, like say you're playing like Overwatch, I don't know who still plays that game, but if you're saying you're playing Overwatch, you're worried about getting into platinum and you're gold and you're like at 2200 and platinum's like 2500, I think. Oh, I want to see myself get to 2300 and stuff. The one thing you have to do when it comes to like progressing is forget about the progression. Like when you upload a video, turn off your phone. Like don't worry about the progress of it, because the next day you're just going to be pleasantly surprised. Videos have like a curvature to them. You know what I mean? Like you'll see your video spike in views and then it starts to flatline. But if you leave it for the next day, you're going to open up your phone. You'll be like, oh, wow, 10,000 views. Oh, wow. Like it's going to be a big thing. You don't have to worry about the progress of it. Like it just helps your mindset a lot more if you're not worrying about how good am I getting instead of just how good can I make this. Instead of worrying about how good can I make my channel, you're like, how good can I make this video? And in turn, it makes all of your videos good. Totally. Like that's the biggest thing. And even when it comes to like music, if you're like, I want to see myself get better at writing and stuff, it's like, well, no, just don't worry about getting better at writing. Worry about having a good song and then work from there. I didn't just magically like wake up and like go, I can play guitar and I can write songs every single day. I've been writing music since I was like 11, even before I learned guitar. Naturally, over time, I got better at it and it became just this natural thing. And that's a big reason why I don't get writer's block, is because I found my own system in how I write songs. I found my own system in how I play guitar. And like it's helped me be like I've naturally progressed over it instead of worrying about the progression, you know?
Yeah, breaking it down into those smaller pieces, working backwards towards that bigger goal of, being better at writing or whatever the goal is.
Yeah, and I think overall it just makes you a happier person. I think a lot of people worry about other people in the sense of like I've been playing this game Osu recently.
Yeah, but I saw it.
I love it. And it's like a lot of people will be like, I'm doing 5 stars, but everyone else is doing 8 stars. Because the higher the stars is the better, basically, if you can do those. And it's like, well, you know what? At the end of the day, like it's a single player game. Like life is a single player game. There's obviously multiplayer aspects to it, but at the end of the day, like life is a game where you have to worry about yourself. You are leveling up. You're not watching other people level up. At the end of the day, at the bare minimum, like you got to make yourself better. Stop worrying about other people. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people look at life or like look at stuff that they're progressing and worry about how other people are progressing faster than them. When at the end of the day, everybody works at different speeds. There's things that you're going to be better at, and there's things that other people are going to be better at. But everyone can be at the same level if they just put more time into it.
Exactly. And like, as far as like those other people in your life, there's no guarantee that like you're going to continue on path near to them. Like you're the only person that you're going to be with through to the very end.
Yeah, well, I mean, like it's like I'm never gonna be the greatest guitarist in the world, but I can be good enough to make myself happy. That's what it is at the end of the day. Don't worry about making other people happy when it comes to like your own progress. Make people happy because it's nice to make people happy. Don't make people happy because you want to impress them with this guitar skill. Impress yourself first, and you'll naturally impress other people.
Damn, that's very concise. I appreciate that. That's beautiful, man.
All right. Thank you, man.
Cool. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you for speaking your words.
That's such a cool system you got going.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I appreciate you helping me out. I'm gonna be watching the political thing going on today, which is gonna be a mess. Watch that with chat. My first thing I told chat is like, please, I don't care who you support. I just want to watch this, please.
Exactly.
Dear God, no fighting.
Ideally, no matter the result, we'd all make compromises and be happy. But I think that might be against human nature in 2020, but we can hope for the best.
I think at the end of the day, humanity is going to prevail and we're going to survive. If you think one candidate's going to be the end of the world, you're wrong. I mean, like things are probably going to be bad for you, or maybe it's going to look bad at the moment. But at the end of the day, the 4 years are going to pass and you're going to move on. Like it's just about fighting. Rome wasn't built in a day, chat. Rome wasn't built in a day. That's what they always say. Sometimes change is going to take a couple more years to go. And if you whether you're a Biden or Trump supporter, one of you guys is going to be disappointed at the end of this. You got to respect and hope that maybe there's a change of heart from whichever president it is.
Oh, exactly.
Maybe they can be better.
Yeah, and it's more so, it's what you do with that disappointment. Do you channel it into like a positive change or growth, or do you just like linger on it and dwell in the in the anger?
Yeah, you can either fight back and continue to fight against a system, or you can try to spread a little bit of love and hopefully find a more peaceful way of trying to compromise. everyone's going to have a different reaction to it, but it's
Mhm.
okay. And I think the US, no matter what, is going to remain the US
Oh,
at the end of the day. Hopefully. We still have to cross it. Let's just knock on wood. Everything's going to be okay. Knock on wood. That's that. There, I've just confirmed that it's going to be good.
Thank you, sir.
Well, hope you enjoy editing this and sitting there with another time lapse. But
that is definitely the vibe. Again, thank you so much for speaking and telling me about you.
Thank you. I've been wanting to do this for so long.
Lovely to hear. That means the world. Thank you.
I appreciate you, man.
And we'll definitely be in touch. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, and you can actually text me because we live in Canada.
Yo, that's what's up. Thanks, Trudeau.
So just let me know though. All right, talk to you later, man.
Ciao.
Bye.
Hello. Nice to meet you. I'm Brad.
I'm Gala. Nice to meet you.
Awesome. A pleasure. How's your day going?
It's been a little crazy because of school.
Yeah.
It's free day now. I don't have to worry about that anymore.
What a blessing.
Yeah, so what about you?
It's pretty okay. It's I'm a little behind on my work. It's a little hard to say focus yesterday with everything going on. I mean, I don't live in America, but I mean, we share a border with them. I'm sure you can understand.
Yeah, I'm very invested in it.
Yeah, a little too invested, but what can you do?
Look into it again.
Exactly. And where are you calling from?
Mexico. Grew up in Mexico City. Currently living in Querétaro, which is a state in Mexico, and then lived a few years in Texas. So
wow.
Very all over the place.
Yeah, totally. I think just off the bat, give me the pitch on you, who you are, what you do, and what got you to where you are today.
I think I'm very still trying to find it, like a lot of people. I am not scared to say it because I feel like I'm still young and I have time for it. I am an original person that likes new ideas, new beliefs. I'm not scared of being who I am. I'm not scared of being embarrassed. I find it a fun experience rather than you laugh at it.
Yeah. Sure, as you're speaking to, you may not have fully found who you are yet, but with that mentality, you're so on your way. You've got this.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask you, as far as travel, you've been all over. That is so crazy. I was looking through your highlights and where you've been. What draws you to travel?
Thinking about that, I travel a lot, but in a certain part of the world. I've only traveled to 2 continents, which is a lot, but it's I feel it's not enough. My parents always took me to travel, and I've loved it ever since. I think I fell in love with the culture and the people of everywhere I go.
And I think that's reflected on your social media as far as your link tree. God, you have so many links to all kinds of resources, and you strike me as a very empathetic person. Why, in your opinion, is it so important to stay informed about what's going on and how we can be better as people?
I think I've read a lot about this, and it says we have all the resources we need. We have a vast majority of people our age have Wi-Fi, they have a phone, they have a computer, and they can access all these news, and they can access movies, they can access other people. Not being informed is just their fault. It's not a privilege. Well, it is a privilege being informed, but it's something you should do. Our world is changing the fastest ever because of technology. And I think it's something that we have to do to survive, but also to learn, because we also have the most connection. I can look something up from Antarctica and it will come up in my browser in 3 seconds. Years ago, that didn't happen. So we have to take advantage of it. Also take the chances that we have. Our parents didn't have this, our grandparents didn't have this. So if we can do it, why not?
Exactly. Yeah. That's the other side of the crushing realities of social media and all the mental health issues it can cause, but also we've been more connected than ever, and there is a lot of potential for a lot of good.
Yes. I think social media is beautiful. I did struggle with it for a while, body issues and self-esteem, but I don't know how I let it go. I just stopped caring about it, I guess. The second you realize that it's really not real, I know that's so cliche, but that it's just numbers and it's fake accounts and it's ghost accounts, that it doesn't reflect you as a person, it made me realize that I'm more than what I reflect on the screen. I am a person, I am a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend. That could not be represented on Instagram stories.
Very true. That's very true. And that's so beautifully worded. Thank you. What are, in your opinion, about, being informed and staying grounded to the issues going on in the world around us, what are the biggest changes that need to be made in Mexico, in your opinion?
It's very divided by like social class currently, but I don't realistically, I don't think it's something that's going to change in the next 100 years. Mexico is very biased too, so we need to find like resources that aren't controlled by the government, because this will sound very shocking to you as a Canadian, but Mexico's government, one political party bought a newspaper, and it was one of the most read newspapers in Mexico. So now all the information coming out of there is biased. But just money moves the country. And it's very sad to admit it, but if you know how it works, you can get around like the biggest flaws, which is corruption currently.
Yeah, and hopefully, the new generations that are coming up, as we've been speaking to, being so informed, if everyone knows like what's going on, hopefully that can eventually at some point lead to change.
Yes, and like they get informed by themselves, not like depending on someone else's words.
Exactly, totally. To maybe bring it to a larger existential question, are you the happiest you've ever been right now? And if not, why?
I think I would say I'm not the happiest because I have a whole world in front of me. Like, I know realistic expectations of my life, of my family, of my friends. My friends are sad. That's something I didn't realize when I was younger. And realizing it just makes you can do a lot, but you can't do much about everything. You can't control your friends. You can't control your family. You can't control like the decisions that were made before you. And I think realizing that made me really sad.
I'm so sorry to hear.
Yeah, but
as you're speaking to, it's like those things you, to a certain extent, you can't control. So it's like, what do you do with the things you can control?
I think I can control like what I make out of it, which is also why I try to keep informed, because I can make something out of it. But I can't change like a president before me, like before I was born or anything, because I wasn't even born. But I can do something about it now. I can be like a small activist. I can talk to my friends. I can talk to my teacher about it. I can educate myself, educate others.
Totally. That's so lovely. And
for
that's
what I stand for.
That's a great mindset. I appreciate that. Gala, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to speak with me. In closing, I was wondering, what advice would you give to someone who's uncertain about the future? Because, 2020 is bringing a lot of insecurity to a lot of people, and it can be hard to stay in a more positive mental state. What would you say to them?
I think I would say that you have a whole world ahead of you. Like, you have a lot of possibilities, and small choices do not have to affect your life. You should not let them affect your life. You can use them, like, as at your advantage. Let's say you don't like this new state of being, like, you don't like being quarantined. We'll make out of it something. Get fit. Start your own business. Practice for your own business if you want to open it, like, after quarantine. Talk to more people. Like, get over your fears. Like, if you're not very social, try to be social online. Try to be social with, like, your peers from your school. Or if you're good in school, help other people in school, which is something that a lot of people need right now.
Totally. It all comes back to, what you make of it. Because so much is definitely beyond our individual control right now. But, focus on what you can, I guess.
And also, like, take every chance you can get.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I grew up in a very religious, conservative Christian family, and
oh no, I didn't. How was it?
It was interesting, but like the biggest thing that led me to step away is my denomination especially was very heaven centric. Like everything you did was to get into heaven, which made time here on one hand feel very pressured to do everything in a certain box, but also it kind of minimized the scale of what's on earth, because if you're in heaven, you're there for eternity and it's just endless. But having finality to something, having an end to existence, if you live every day with just not thinking that you'll die, but in the back of your head knowing that this could all just end at any moment, I think it adds something. There's like that saying that's like, life is beautiful because it ends. So I don't know. Yeah. True. Try to make the most of every day, perhaps.
How are you gonna make the most of it today?
Of today? Man. I'm gonna carve out some time for myself. I'm gonna talk to some people that mean a lot to me. I think it's a small thing, but for now.
It's a great thing. It's a fulfilling thing.
Yeah, it makes me happy. Thank you. And you, do you have any plans for the day today to make it the best it can?
I am gonna go spend some time with my cousins on the beach, which I haven't seen like in a long time, and I'm gonna get whipped by some waves. It's very strong today, the waves.
Very good. Ah, that sounds like a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Gala, thank you again. Thank you for sharing your words and your story and everything you do.
It was very lovely, like the whole meeting.
Likewise, this is a pleasant surprise. Cool. And
Low expectations for me?
no. Never. I wish you a lovely rest of your day with your cousin, and we'll definitely be in touch.
Thank you.
Of course. I'll talk to you later. Ciao.
Bye.
Special thanks to Noah, Luke, and Gala for making this episode possible. Intro music provided by Wayfie, that's Wayfie, and accompanying tracks by Low Boil, that's Loboil, who can both be found on all major streaming platforms. I'll see you soon, and thanks for tuning in to Blond Radio.